Welcome to the Connected Spirit Podcast, a space where the mystical and the human experience merge, where we explore what it really means to walk a spirit-led path. I'm Courtney Dawson, an ethical medium and mentor, and for as long as I can remember, I have felt the presence of the spirit world. But my journey hasn't been simple. It's been one of self-discovery, healing from religious and emotional trauma, navigating fear, judgment, and the loneliness that comes with embracing something the world doesn't always understand. This podcast is here to take what was once considered woo and bring it into the real lived experience of being human. Because mediumship isn't just something we do, it's who we are. Here we dive into the conversations no one else is having, breaking down misconceptions, exploring the unseen, and normalizing the journey of deep connection. We'll talk about the beauty and the struggle of being a medium. We'll laugh, we'll reflect, we'll go deep. And most importantly, we'll remember who we are, why we're here, and how spirit moves through us all. So if you've ever felt something more, if you've ever questioned the unseen, or if you're simply ready to embrace the fullness of your spiritual path, you're in the right place. When we're developing our mediumship, we have a tendency to separate our mediumship from our day-to-day life. Oh, it's something I make time for on Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. That's what I do. And that actually creates so much separation between you and your actual spiritual gifts, your inherent ability to connect with the spirit. And something that I learned very, very on is that there's a lot of things that separate us from our own true nature. Family, religion, partners, societal beliefs, conditionings, politics, all that kind of shit. And it creates this divide. And we get kind of swept into the undercurrent of it. And when we start developing our mediumship, it's like we're swimming upstream trying to find our way back. And when you have that connection with your spirit guides, not just through sitting in circle, but just your day-to-day lived human experiences, you find that up current is just the stream. It's like, oh, okay, I can kind of get through it. And that's actually been my lived experience. And it has been the most healing thing that I've ever done for myself, like hands down. And you guys all know I was raised in a Christian home. And when I finally said, okay, I'm going to look into this and figure out why I keep seeing these so-called dead people my whole life. I'm not schizophrenic. I'm not losing the plot. Like, these people are actually talking to me. They're there. And what they tell me is actually fact. It's true. It's proven. People are like, yeah, that makes sense. But I had no like logical or rational explanation to knowing why. And so developing mediumship was that bridging the gap between what society said I should be and what my soul came here to be. And it's been incredibly healing and peaceful. And you can have that too. It enriches every area of your life. I promise you that. And so I got the news last night because I haven't been able to sleep. I've been uncomfortable, sore, fatigued, all of that. And then checking my phone, and I got my email, 10:30 at night from the surgeon. I'm like, that can't be good, because I've been waiting for pathology. And then he's like, I don't know, some medical terms, whatever, but basically it's not malignant. I'm like, so I don't have to lose my left ovary. And if you didn't subscribe to my newsletter, you got it. We're changing the format and there's like some juicy shit in it. It's so good. Thank you, Spirit. But long story short, I had like a ton of tests done. MRI, CT, I don't know how many ultrasounds, a lot, even paid to go to a private clinic, tumor markers, everything done. And out of all of these diagnostic tests that I had, they said I had tumors in both ovaries. And then I go and have the surgery. And because I wasn't recovering well originally afterwards, I wasn't doing good. I was gray with like blotches, red blotches. I was a mess. And anyways, I stayed later as the last one there. And then doctor messed up on a prescription. He comes and talks to me and I said, so like, did you have to take my left ovary? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, what about the tumor? He's like, Courtney, we got in there. There's no tumor. Pardon? Pardon? Like, that's what the spirit world does. Not because of me. I think it's just being open to that healing power of them. And you guys can do this too. That's what I encourage you to do. Not think of mediumship as something you do, but embody it. A lot of stuff. And one of the mediums who's a pioneer, I'll say he's a pioneer in modern mediumship, and definitely somebody who's been a big, incredible teacher in the spiritualist movement. He's passed to the spirit. His name is Glenn Edwards, and this is the book. And he's got this book called Reflections with Glenn Edwards. British medium, amazing guy, powerful stuff. And this actually kind of ties into what we're talking about. As we develop a deeper response to an understanding of our sensitivity and spiritual and psychic nature, we allow the Spirit's presence to manifest more fully in our lives and guide us onto richer planes of being and consciousness. So, what is that actually saying? So, as we delve deeper, develop a deeper response to our own nature. In other words, we're not creating that separation, we're really embracing it. It's not about defining it, labeling it, looking for acceptance or acknowledgement from other people. That does a lot of things, emotionally, mentally, which we know those two things always shift the energy. What that does is it begins to dissolve fear, doubt, resistance. Even when we want to do this, we can feel fear. Fear for tons of different reasons. Fear of the spirit, fear of, oh my goodness, what are my abilities going to look like? What does that mean for me? How it can shift your identity. Like I went through the whole thing, identity crisis. Oh my God. What does this make me, right? But when you realize, going back to what we were kind of just casually talking about, it's not something we do, it's an inherent part of our intrinsic nature. That shifts the way that we view our life and how we respond to the presence of the spirit. And it becomes that thing I call like an embodiment. It's an aspect of you, just like a diamond. A jewel has different facets. That ability to connect with the world unseen is a facet of your makeup. And then what that does is it then allows you to recognize that spirit is already there all the time. I'm not talking about they're giving you downloads 24/7. I mean, if you are, I might say, you might get a little tired of it, right? Because then you're missing out on a whole bunch of your human experiences, which you need too. But why this is so important is because what he's talking about is that it begins to shift. He talks about like they guide us onto like richer planes of being and consciousness. In other words, what it does is it shifts your view from just, and I don't like using this term, but people are using it, is like 3D, or the physical. And then you look at life from a holistic, which is the spiritual and the physical, and you bring them together. And it really enriches how you see yourself, others, and the world. And also the spirit. Because nothing can divide us from the spirit. Nothing can divide us from our own intrinsic nature. So if we understand that, then we realize that there is nothing that separates us from the spirit. It's only, can I say, our level of consciousness that hasn't caught up with truth that we are these beings that connect to spirit, that can communicate, that can channel, all of that, and realize it's just a normal part of what we do. This is where I try to normalize the conversation about it, because there's a lot of ego in mediumship, and not everybody who connects with spirit is ethical or heart-centered. And I know that. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. I'm just saying I know that from my own experiences. But if you can embody those two things, you stay really grounded and present and centered. And the byproduct of that is that you have a better connection with the spirit. It's always an inner job. You know what I mean? Starts at home base. And then we expand. This is why meditations, we often connect to the heart space or connect to the light within, because if we can connect to that divinity within, it makes it easier for us to connect to the spirit, the external spirit, AKA God's loved ones, people's departed loved ones. The Connected Spirit isn't just a podcast, it's a remembering of who we are, a remembering of our connection to spirit, and a remembering that we are never walking this path alone.
Mediumship isn't just about speaking with spirits. It's about deepening the connection to our own spirit, to one another, and to the energy that moves through everything. So as you leave this space, ask yourself, what part of this conversation stirred something within you? What connection is spirit inviting you to strengthen? If this episode spoke to you, please share it, leave a review, and connect with me on Instagram at Medium Courtney Dawson, or visit my website at mediumcourtneydawson.com. Your presence in this community matters, because connection isn't just about what we seek, it's what we are. Until next time, trust your spirit, trust the unseen world, and trust that you are always, always connected.